Welcome, one and all, to the most legendary circuit possibly out there in the world. It is Imola. We're in the slap bang in the middle of Italy, and the cars are heading out for qualifying here this afternoon. And Gentoffer leads the way as he exits out of the Tamburello chicanes, turns 1, 2, 4, officially on the track map as he heads now through the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, am I speaking out loud? I'm speaking out loud. I think to everybody it was probably very annoying. Can I try and turn that off? I'm not sure how I do it, to be perfectly honest. You see my name pop up in the little bottom and corner. Can I turn this off? Push to talk on. There we go. Turn myself off. Apologies for that. You can see I have not commented yet on this game, but I'm looking forward to it this evening. As he heads now to the Variante Alta chicane, such a difficult part of the circuit. Those curbs could be such a factor in this race. So easy to make a mistake, so easy to gain the time on your rivals around you. And we're going to follow McLaren for the first flying lap here in this session, Division 4. We're Division 4, round 2 of the championship, of course. Season 10. We're straight into qualifying, no messing around. And he opens up the lap, heading down that main straight, heading out towards Tamburello chicane, like we spoke about a little bit earlier on. Reaching speeds of up to around 335 kph. Just a bit under, maybe kind of a little error on the McLaren, dragging around the 100-metre board, get the car thrown in, avoid the yellow sausage curbs, and sit on the crest there of the apex curb on Imola, and you've gone par through. Turns 1 to 4. Now, into the Villeneuve chicane, very, very difficult. We're going to carry the speed for the first part, and the second part is a little bit more demanding, so you have to hook the car back towards the right. Now we're going through Tosa, really wide hairpin. The elevation does make it a little bit difficult to get the power down. You use all the circuit available to you as we now climb the hill through to Piratella, throw the car in, drop it down to 5th gear, and how early are you able to get the full throttle as you now run down to Aquaman Raleigh, one of the best corners, in my opinion, in motorsport. Carries through for the first part, and then really demand a lot of the throttle as you go up the hill to that tricky chicane we spoke about earlier, Variante Alta. As he throws the car in over the first curve, a little bit, hard to say, a little bit safe on this first lap, but the car just squirming away from him as he bounces back down onto the tarmac below us, heading down now to Ravazza 1 and 2. The house is giving a great view off there on the outside of the circuit. Throw the car into the final corner. How wide do you dare to go? And it's the run towards the line, the shortest route possible for McLaren driving. He crosses the line and he moves himself into provisional pole. It's 1 minute 15.4. The times will start flying in thick and fast behind us. What can his teammate do? Ralph, a little bit further back through the final corner we go. Drops it in 3rd gear, straight back into 4th. A little bit of short shift there. We'll come to a yellow flag in sector 1. I think there's people just getting out the way of others. But Ralph goes into P3 and ASC. Your current championship leader is in 2nd in his Haas. Have people starting to set their laps? We're going to jump on board with the Mercedes of, I'm going to call him Kitchen, unfortunately. I can't pronounce that name straight away off the top of the first bit. So Kitchen heading towards the chicane now. Over the first part. Again, a little bit safe on the first part. Actually gets a really nice run through. Short shifting as well. Just dulls that sort of response from the rear. And it's a lap from Composite. Puts himself into P4 in that Ferrari. There is an AlphaTauri ahead of us. Mercedes now into the final 2 corners. Really opens up that final corner. The run towards the line now as the AlphaTauri ducks into the pit lane. What can Kitchen do? He crosses the line and he goes P3, 1 at 16.1, just behind Gentoffer and ASC. Elsewhere, one of the Red Bulls on an out lap. Maybe we're going to go on board with Skipper in his Ferrari, heading towards the final couple of corners. Yeah, a very striking look for the Ferrari driver. A little bit wide, I'd argue, in the first lap, but kept it together within the bounds of the racetrack. DRS will be open now. I think he might just be starting the lap because he's only backed off this lap, and we'll follow him for the lap. You see his DRS at the bottom was a little bit, empty. He's got an Alpine in front of him, heading down towards turn 1, really carrying the speed in. Throw the car in as best you can and just try to almost hassle it through the second part. Alpine will go the way for us very nicely. He does invalidate, unfortunately. This time around, looks like Pav has gone. No, that's the Martin brother, Adam. As he cuts across the circuit there, does skipper Adam has gone into P5 in the Aston Martin. How's the Williams getting on? He's just started his flying lap, heading now down towards the Villeneuve chicane. Second part looking very tidy through there, going out extra higher in the second part. Just rounds ready, sort of be aggressive on the throttle. What's he like out of the chicane, out of the hairpin? Sorry, very nice indeed. Climbs up the hill, sets himself up for a nice straight line entry into Piratella. Whereas the car and drops it down to 5th gear and on the throttle nice and early, well before the exit curb. Could have had a little bit more on the exit there, just to be able to carry a bit more speed, carry a bit higher minimum. Drops it down into 4th gear, really nice swinging. You treat it as one long corner almost, that tightens right up the hill. Out into the chicane. What's he like on the curve? Got a lovely camera angle here. Avoiding the yellow sausage curves completely. A little bit of a different tactic to what most go for. A lot of people really just smashing that first part. How sort of daring can you be with the track limits? But it seems maybe the guy is just trying to get the early laps in on the board and well keep it well within the race bounds. Well within the bounds of the racetrack. That's what I was trying to say. What can a double do in the Williams? He goes P7, 1 minute 17.843. And who else is on a flying lap? We'll try and follow one of the Red Bulls. Yet to see them set a time so far. Looks like Bob is just starting his lap. We'll see how Scully's doing. But then we'll flick to the other Red Bull. 2 more corners to negotiate. Variant Alto 1 and 2. Very safe on track limits. Like you said, yellow flags in sector 1. Looks like the Ferrari may have just cut across the chicane. Maybe a little mistake there, but Scully crosses the line. He goes into P9. How's his teammate getting on? Bob. Purple in sector 1 according to our mini-map. Really nice exit as he climbs up the hill now. And did not... came P9 last week, Bob. Really pushing the track limits. And this one could be a really good time from Bob. The other thing, sector 1 is his teammate getting out of the way. You know, climbing the hill, opting for 3rd gear, really being aggressive on the revs. They're not looking to short steer like we've seen others doing so far in this qualifying session. Purple again for Bob to 50.1 as a combination time. Really aggressive, avoiding the curbs there. Oh, and runs a little bit wide, gets away without an invalidation, but definitely time lost there as he just narrows up his exit. Really had to cut back as he ran wide, so not ideal for the Red Bull man. 2 more corners to negotiate. He's really nice on the track limits, really pushing and really having a nice flow through the circuit, in my opinion. DRS will be open now and crossing the line. Even with that mistake, it's P3. A 16 dead. There's definitely more time on the table there for Bob. Really good banker lap for me. And definitely it'll be interesting to see how he gets on later on in this qualifying session. Who else? Man like Donkey in the Alpha Tauri just completed his first sector through Piratella now. Again, a little bit safe on track limits compared to others. But then again, might just be looking for his push a little bit later on in the session, but has invalidated on the way down to Aquaman Raleigh. Kieran just heading now through Tosa. Nice exit from the Alpine driver. Looks like we just got a McLaren in the background who'll be getting out of the way for the Ferrari. I think that maybe Jen's on his outlap. Yes, as Ralph has just started his 2nd flying lap attempt. Through Aquaman O'Reilly going out really counter speed through. Keeps it within time as the first part. Look to jump on the curb just a touch in the 2nd phase. And now as you go up towards the chicane, it's 50.9 for Kieran over the curbs. A little bit more than some of the others, but really avoiding that 2nd one. I want to see someone really go for it on that first curb. I have to see an onboard view. Maybe the angle's not right for us. Heading down now the hill underneath the bridge towards Ravazza 1. Drops it in the 3rd gear. Avoid the curb on the inside. Nice. And wide on the outside. And now it's about the run towards the line. Nothing else you can do apart from opening your DRS, which he does. And it's a 16.7 goes P7. How's Ralph getting on in that McLaren? See improvements in sector 1, half a tenth up so far. Looked a little bit more compromised on the exit there. He just tried to try and keep it within track limits as he fired the speed in. Lost a little bit of time there to himself. A little bit more on the curb there. Compared to some of the others, we have seen Jens also has started a flying lap, and so has ASC. I think ASC is just ahead of where we are now. So keep an eye on how he does, but we're following the Chrome McLaren of Ralph. Through the final corner we go as ASC dual hit. Speaking of him, Ralph invalidated his lap, but to 15.3 from ASC. What can Jens do to improve? And on board with the McLaren driver very momentarily, which is now climbing up the hill, short-shifting up in a 4th. And he's now got to think about Piratella. Keep it to the left, keep it to the right as the Ferrari's off to the right hand side. Keep it to the right, but don't touch the grass. Very important because that will compromise your entry. Really nice flow there. Could have used a bit more circuit to the right. Now for Aquaman we go flat until we get to that straight section in between the 2 corners that we're just starting to slide around a little bit there. McLaren driver, what's the chicane like? Will we see a big commitment as the Williams gets out of our way? And Alpine actually a little bit safe on the curves, but it's working for a lot of these drivers here this evening. And actually, I think he's backed off from this lap, which I've just noticed. How is Kitchen getting on a little bit further behind? He's just going into the Villeneuve chicane, carries the speed in, and really sort of commits to the cutback through the first part to then open up the second part, 9 seconds down. I don't think this will be his biggest push lap so far this evening. Kieran's getting away. It's a very rogue play. I think he may have run out of fuel. Yep, Kieran has run out of fuel. It's a very interesting point. Luckily, there's no one around him. He will have to sort of crawl back to the pit lane as the Aston Martin is just about to approach the scene. Almost 0.3 of a second up. Well, the Aston, that's what we wanted to see, really over the curbs. Very nice from him. And so far, with that improvement, we could be looking to try and break into that top 6, trying to get ahead of Ralph in the McLaren. 2 more corners to go to negotiate for the Aston Martin, man. Or is the car into the final part of the lap? Now gets on the power. And we're just thinking about the line. Shortest loop run to the line as we possibly can. And it's a 16.4, 6.1, sorry, massive gains in the middle sector. And it's 2,000 a second off his teammate Connor, who's just on an out lap as we speak. As Jen started a second fly lap, he has 3/10 down, so maybe no response this time around to ASC. Who else on the circuit is setting lap times? Got a feeling Double might be pushing. He is. He's just finished the lap and he's moved himself up to P8. Big improvements from the Williams driver. So he's, oh, that was a snap of, I'm assuming, lag from our connection. Scully just started the flying lap. He's just behind where we are now, opening up through the second part there. Well, the final part, I should be saying, of the chicane into the Villeneuve as we go. Another driver who cuts back quite aggressively on the first part, opens up the second, gets us a nice run all the way through, a little bit wide through the toes to hairpin, but that will give him a good exit on the run up towards Piratella. We go underneath the Pirelli logoed sign. What's his track limits like? Through Piratella, a bit wide on the first part, but uses all the track available to him on the exit. Coming in down through Aqua Minerale we go. Red Bull driver looking to improve from his current P2 position. Can he put himself into the top 10? Can he go into the 1:17? That's what we're looking to do. 1.2 seconds of improvement, so really good stuff so far on this lap. Goes a little bit wide through the exit of Marianne Alta. Now down towards the final couple of corners. Have we just lost our time that we've been gaining up over the course of this lap? Malandoki on an out lap as well. The only driver yet to set a time. Well, Skipper hasn't really set a representative time. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on those guys very shortly. Towards the line goes Scully. Does a 1:18.3. Lost a bit of time there, but still improvement. Nevertheless, Skipper and a little bit further to go. Malandoki will follow Malandoki on his lap as he now heads onto the main straight. DRS will open very shortly. Sort of a, what a big name, but I don't know. Malandoki was in league racing well before I was, and I started in sort of 2020. So a bit of an expert, got the experience and the knowledge. Definitely to give him a good result. What can he do in his first final lap with only 4.5 minutes to go? This could be his only real lap time. Needs to give him in track limits. Had to break there as the car just got away from it a little bit into the Villeneuve chicane, a little bit wide for the second part, but still carried decent speed through. Now up towards the Tosa hairpin. Everyone up to third gear. It's all about how you can put the power down a little bit higher, sort of than most sort of slow speed corners. Usually we're used to using that in second or third gear. It just allows you a bit more aggressive, and well, that's what everyone's using. No matter where you are, up and down the field, dropping now down. It's like all about that elevation, such short up and down changes. Can he carry the speed through Aqua Minerale? He can. And now we're going to keep to the left-hand side now as we're thinking about that chicane. It's such a short run. Purple middle sector, 50.8. That's a pretty decent combination time. Very slick through the chicane, it must be said. No major dramas there. Will he be looking to put himself, definitely, I would say, into that top sort of 6, maybe 7? Can he be challenging the Aston Martins, who are currently occupying 5th and 6th? Run towards the line now for the Donkey. DRS will be open now. And the time is going to be 1:16.4, just behind the Aston Martins. How is Skipper getting on? Drops down the hill now to Aqua Minerale. And fires the speed into the first part. Using that straight line, short straight line section, that's your major braking point, and you throw the car up the hill and just hope it sticks. The combination time, 50.8, 19 seconds up so far. Let's get a little bit deep into this game, but I think he's going to get away with it. So it's just a little bit ahead from the combination time, what I remember, compared to Man Like Donkey. We'll see how they get on, well, relatively to each other. Skipper through the final corner now, drops it down to third, now Demant, or flicked off the wrong car, running towards the line, and DRS is open now, and the time is going to 16.781, that puts him into P11, so just on the verge, and quite a big group of guys there, so the Super Ferraris 11 and 12, just outside the top 10, as things stand. The guys up at the front, pushing ASC and Gentoffer, not, you can see them, they can see each other on track at the moment. We'll follow ASC. What's his current time? Looking like a little bit down at the moment. Jens has backed off, it seems, on this lap. Or maybe, yeah, he's backed off on this lap. Looking to go again shortly, and so has the Haas, I think. Well, quite a bit of traffic up and around the hairpin. The Alpine still may be pushing. That is Kieran. And yeah, almost 4/10 of a second up. Well, Kimberly has invalidated this lap, so looking to go again. We're going to try and follow the battle up at the front. Is he pushing this lap? I'm not sure. He's opened up the lap. Doesn't maybe have the ERS to really go for it. Jens, though, is going for it. So we'll follow him just behind. We'll try and flip between the two. I'm really not sure. I don't think he is pushing up the road. Throws the car into the Tamburello chicane. Nice on the curbs there from the McLaren driving the flank sector 2. Just drivers getting out of the way. And yes, ASC does pull to the left-hand side. Here we're looking for one final run right at the end. Really nice line there through the Villeneuve chicane. Towards Toast now. We're half a tenth down at the moment in the McLaren. Riding up the hill now, short shifting up to fourth. Just to help us a little bit more with this, but how people using third, because overall it's just better at the hairpin. Throws the car really nicely into Piratella. Really nice on the track limits as well, using all the road available to us. Throws the car into the first bar. Can we hold on? Yes, we can. The rig just complaining a little bit there. Starting to sort of slide. That does help you sort of slide the car around it, then he shoots up the hill. And to demand power, 10 down at the moment. That's nice through the chicane. Aggressive on the second curve as well there for Jens. I think that's going to help him. Just keep the minimum up a little bit there. You're not demanding too much from the car in the turning phase at the second part. Car aggressive on the first part in Ravazza. One more corner to go. Puts the foot to the floor. And we now run towards the line. What can Jens do? Surely his final lap in qualifying. 215.5. 10th of a second down. Unfortunately for him at the moment. Kitchen on the lap at the moment. 10th of a second up in the first sector. Losing half of that advantage in the second. He's got quite a big gap to the game. Nice chicane though for the Mercedes driver. ASC, we assume, is going in. He's just started his final flying lap, I would believe. So we'll follow him just after the conclusion of Kitchen's lap. Into the final corner we go now, the second part of Ravazza. Onto the main straight, excuse me. Mercedes singing away as he runs towards the line. It's a 1 minute 15.4. Got a whole man. Big improvements there from Kitchen in the final sector. Just missing out though. And the checker flag is out. ASC didn't quite see his first sector, but has pulled to the side of the road. He is happy with his attempt here. And he is not looking to go for an improvement. Where are the times coming elsewhere? The Aston Martins, 10th of a second down for Connor in the first sector. Adam is improving though. Can he jump his way into the 1 in 15? Can he get ahead of Bob, whose checker flag is out? He does get ahead of Bob, moves into fourth place. He'll be looking at the battle up by the front, starting behind the P2 man. Of course, in his own P2 as he'll be looking at him. Ralph pushing at the moment, 14th second down though. Better on the curbs, I would say, for him. Skipper further back. Invalidated his lap time, so he will be starting 12th position. I imagine. Anyone else on a time? Kitchen seems to have gone again. I don't think he's got the ERS really to do it. Half a second down. It seems Ralph is going to conclude his lap time. He does not. He dives into the pit lane. Skipper, that's a... I'm not sure, really. Can he... This would be quite a funny shot. There he is, off to the right-hand side there. Skipper taking a bit of an alternative line around Imola. Sort of, I really am not sure what's going on. Where is he off to? It provokes many a question, but ASC is your man on pole position. P2 for him last night. Of course, the championship leader not here this evening. The other Mercedes driver of Pac-Man. ASC has the chance to go top of the championship order here this evening, and he's done the perfect start to that. He's on P1. Gents, last week, just signals the podium in P3. He is second place. And Kitchen, who unfortunately DNF last week, will start from third position. It's a long run down towards turn one. A lot of things can happen. And it's a difficult turn one. It's a sort of tight flowing section, which is not great on lap one or two. Or overtaking generally. It's a difficult place to overtake, despite that long straight. ASC on pole position, 1 minute 15.305. And it's a little bit, quite a close battle behind. 10.5 for Gentoffer and Kitchen. Sets them back. And then it's Adam, Bob, Connor, who are within a second of the pole position time. And it's a little bit further back. We will run through them on the formation lap. Been a while since I've commentated. Oh, a lot of Hopefully I'll get back into the swing of it, but just talking constantly for 80 minutes, there's no place I'd rather be on a Thursday night than watching some racing at DTR. And I'm glad people have joined me for the ride. A little more overcast than qualifying was. Well, here on the Sunday, it's race day at Imola. The drivers will be selecting their strategy, selecting their fuel loads. What's their game plan for this evening? I've got to hold my hands up. I don't know the strategy off the top of my head. I think it's a medium hard sort of race. 32 laps ahead of us here this evening. It's a long one compared to a lot of the races. Of course, the lap time around about 1 minute 18 to 1 minute 20 in the race is what we're probably expecting to see a lot of the lap times. Probably a little bit in the moment 20s, depending on what tyre you're on, of course, and what stage we are in the race, because fuel. The cars will be brimmed at the race start. No refueling, of course, in Formula 1 anymore. Where are the key points today? Turn 1, of course, the best overtaking opportunity where the big DRS straight is. Cars do tend to run a higher downforce level here at Imola because of the demanding nature of some of these corners. So the DRS is quite powerful. It's always been a DRS on this game. It's been quite powerful. That long straight, high aero, it just means there's a big effect from the rear wing once we remove it at the touch of the button. So being within that 1 second is my key today, but it's going to be difficult because it's hard to follow around Imola. The cars are ready to go. We're about to head out for our formation lap. Oh, that's new. I wanted to sort of do a big talk, Croft. You've really ruined it for me. He's now talking. The tyre options available to us are the... Oh, no. Already? Oh. Apologies for not being able to run through the grid like I normally do. The drivers lining up in their positions now. I'm very lost in what's going on, to be fully honest. It's ASC on pole position, Gentoffer in second. I've just moved on, as you can see. And Kitchen in third in that Mercedes. Everyone is lining up on the grid now, facing forwards, and we await the lights here at the historic Imola circuit. Slap bang in the middle of Italy. I'm still not sure really what's happened. We await the lights now above us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Imola for the second round of season DTR. It's lights out and away we go. Seems to be a good start for ASC up at the front. People making positions up and down the field. The Aston Martin of Adam and Bob dueling away as we speak. Looks like ASC's got a DTR into turn 1. What can down inside the Mercedes go? A bit of contact maybe. Yes, running wide. It's Jens. Can he get a decent run out? No, he can't. Losing position, dropping down into P5. Look behind us, the Aston Martin onto the grass a little bit, keeps hold of P6. We head through the first couple of corners and it's wheel to wheel behind. Ralph just slots ahead of Malandonki. He made up a few positions at the start. And third back, we've got an Alpine spinning off the road. Goes, I think that's Pete the Pirate. Further back. And the Alpine will face the right way now. He's on the hard compound tyres, not good for his strategy, looking to go long. But hopefully he can get his head down further up the road. The Red Bull and Alfa Romeo swapping places. They're heading towards Piratella. And already out front, it's the second gap for ASC. He is just eyes forward so far and not looking back in the slightest. Heading through the first chicane for the first time. People looking for a move, but surely he can't make a move into there. It's such a short braking zone. And it's impossible to go too wide. Excuse me, with how they naturally run. Down towards Ravazza for the first time. Just about keeping on that second gap. Of course, DRS enabled effectively when we get on to lap 3, because the detection point is at the end of the lap. Heading now down towards turn 1, fast lap on the medium compound tyres for ASC. We'll get tyres up as well. Most of the grid, I was going to talk about it. Most of the grid on mediums. Connor though, gone for the position change further back, and down the inside goes Jens, regaining some of the positions early on. He moves himself up into P4. The times not being very helpful to me, because I'm sure some of them aren't a minute and 20 behind. As we now run towards Tosa on board with the Red Bull of Bob. Let's see what position gains are for some of our drivers. So, of course, Jens only losing 2 places at the start. Could have been a lot worse, but of course, Kitchen and Adam gaining from him. Ralph Malandonki swapping positions. Connor on the soft tyres, not gaining any places. Surprisingly, it must... No, it is. And Skipper up for really good start from him. in this race. The medium tire just focused himself. What's happened further back? And it was onto the road. Front wing is lost. Yellow flags in sector 2 are out. Ooh, imagine they will go green. Oh, is that a car off as well? Is that a Ferrari? Oh, the Ferrari of composite's gone off as well. Out of chicane. Has he done what Leclerc did? Doesn't seem to have damage. I did see some carbon fibre. They see the new fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 18.1. I was sort of right with 1 minute 18s. It turns out. Get the tyres back up. There we go. As we head on to lap number 3. Running wide there. The Williams will be diving into the pit lane very shortly. Kieran Well gaining 1 position there from another's misfortune. I don't think Patman's racing, unfortunately. Of course, your winner in Australia last week. But ASC putting the hammer down, 2.6 seconds up the road. The Mercedes of Kitchen starting to come under a little bit of pressure. Well, DRS active. Oh, and McLaren of Jens going for the move on the exit of Tota. Great overtake. Very opportunistic move. Excuse me. And looking to get back up to where he started this race. Was a position change further back as well. I think that might have been between man like Donkey and Skipper. Don't quote me on that. I think that's where the opposition change came. Let's see one in the corner of my eye. Pete's picked up the first reasoning time penalty of this race. Very easy to do, in all honesty, especially with that chicane, and we've done it 3 times now, so they could all be there. His warnings. The Mercedes runs wide. He does seem to have a few issues. Almost a Valtteri Bottas Max Verstappen incident, like we saw, I think, in 2020. And now he's running towards turn 1. That rear wing is open on the McLaren. But because he was held up in the previous bit, here comes the Aston Martin. He's regaining position now towards turn 1. Could it be double move here? But the Aston Martin, he then switches to the outside. Could it be? Oh, he's lost both places. Down the inside goes the McLaren. And just about holds on. But it's Adam with the double move. He went round the outside. Well, the outside, sort of the inside. Is it going to be a second place? Can't quite get ahead. And now just behind Bob's getting involved. But just to go back to what Adam did there. He's effectively gone down the inside of Jens, then flicked between the two of them, gone round the outside in towards turn 1. A fantastic move. The DRS, we talked about how powerful it was, and well, the gain there to gain 2 cars. He's up in a P2. Great stuff from the Aston Martin driver. And Jens still, unfortunately after all that, is in P4. The red ring light is flashing away on the back of his car. He's been using his boost and looking to try and maybe make a move. The door just about closing. It's not. Will he go for the move? Bees becomes very sensible in the end. But the McLaren driver is pushing. This is where the action is up at the front. This is what we love to see here in Division 4. Heading down towards Ravazza. And it's all calm for a brief moment. But I'm sure Adam will now be the one under attack. Everyone behind him got DRS. But as we did say earlier, the McLaren doesn't have a lot of ERS to play with at the moment. We're going to go on board with Kitchen. I think he'll be on the charge. He's looking in the slipstream. He's going to try and make the move now. Fix the inside. Relatively easy move. The McLaren not close enough to come back after the Aston Martin. Mercedes back up in a P2. Showing off the George Russell blue Mercedes. And then through the King goes a little bit wide, but held the car well enough in the end. Oh, I do love a helicopter shot, me. That is something, if anyone's heard me comment before, I do love a helicopter shot. Aston Martin hunting down the Mercedes, both Mercedes-powered cars, of course. Looking through, there's surely no way into Tamburello. You just see there, there. Could not carry the speed in. Compared to Mercedes, when you're tucked up that behind, that's when it's difficult to overtake. But if you can follow, we've seen what can happen already here in this race. Whilst this is all happening, ASC now a little further up the road. Do we have an incident? We do. It's Pete facing the wrong way. He will be able to get going once again. I'm not sure. I think it was just a spin. Demanding a little bit too much from his car now. Down towards Ravazza for the 5th time in this race. And one Mercedes driver struggling a little bit of understeer in the first part. It seems just pushing a little bit wide on the first part. And surely the Aston Martin is going to be coming straight back at him. What the view like from Jens, and actually the rain light's flashing as well on the Mercedes. It's literally a carbon copy of what we saw on the previous lap, but the other way around, and the Aston Martin moves himself back up into P2. Positions yo-yoing between the two drivers at the moment. Scully picks up a freezing time penalty for multiple track limits warnings, I would imagine. Mercedes a nice direction change then through the skin. The direction change is actually really nice. Then there's the push I was talking about earlier. A little bit of understeer in that car, in my opinion. Whilst this is all happening, the gap between ASC and Adam has closed by half a second. keep an eye on that. But actually, speaking of that, let's climb straight back up. Anyway, Jen's just waiting in reserve, and Bob as well. Just maybe playing the long game with this one. Skipper pushing Ralph at the moment. That's a sort of titanic duel, it must be said, just behind this one. So we'll try and keep an eye on that because the gap is very close. Less than 3/10 between those two at the moment as they now come through the chicane. But what has the Mercedes got this time around? Can he come straight back at the Aston Martin? Really nice exit there for Adams. We head onto the main straight. Surely that gap is going to be a little bit too much. He's going to try the overtake. I think DRS will be open. Head down towards turn one. It may just have to wait to the following lap. He's going to go for the move. Shows in the nose, but the Aston Martin swoops into keeping the position of about, like we said, Skipper and Ralph. Looking way down the inside. No way through. Just not quite close enough on this occasion. Further down the field, of course, we had the early stoppers of Pav and the Alfa Romeo and Double. They're just getting on with their races, and well, they're hoping for a bit of an incident later on as P because another 3-second time penalty. Then if somebody comes a little bit later on, they'll come back into play. I'm sort of hoping Imola anything can happen. We've seen a few incidents already, so it only takes one person to put it, unfortunately, into the wall. And the race goes on its head. The Mercedes runs wide. I think we'll have avoided a warning there, but what it has done is given Jen something to chase, and well, they're all running a little bit low on ERS, and it just makes it difficult to battle. If you're a bit too aggressive in the early phase, you'll find in sector 2. The Ferrari facing the wrong way, and that's composite. Has to swing his way back round. We'll head down towards Varentialta. He was really putting some good pressure on, so that's unfortunate for him. Mercedes could be under attack this time, but he does have DRS to defend rather than attack. Looks like actually Jen has been saving a bit of ERS. That rain light no longer flashing as he headed down the main straight. Excuse me. Saving a bit of ERS, ready to sort of come back at the pair. That gap between the top two gone back up to 3.6 seconds so far. So maybe, well, probably had him just not being so aggressive on the ERS because he's almost being forced to save it now. He got it, but also now that sort of the battling has calmed down for a brief moment. We're on lap 8 of this Grand Prix. Oh no, that's the Red Bull Bob. He was sort of very patiently getting on with his race and sort of watching from afar. And unfortunately, he has had a spin, and it's fair to him, he's been very sensible with how he turns this one around. I would have been a bit more rogue and probably sent it way more onto the track. But nevertheless, a fair play to him. Unfortunately, he has lost a lot of time in this race. Rumours of rain in 10 minutes. We hear, are the skies getting any darker up above? One thing that is happening is a right-off battle for P2. Adam, under pressure from Kitchen, who is under pressure from Jens. It's almost like the spin has just released them all and they're ready to attack. We're going to look behind us. And already Jen's looking to make the move. But here comes the Mercedes. It could be he's going to get double overtaken. He's a sitting duck under the DRS. Can Jens make the double pass here? Heading down towards turn one. The McLaren's on the inside. He's got the high ground. He moves himself back up in a P2 where he started this Grand Prix. Just about keeping his head Mercedes. There might have been a bit of contact there. Andre, who's going to come out on top? Oh, there's wheel bang. It's the Aston Martin, who was in second. He said, no, you're not coming back through. He's going to keep hold of P3 as Kitchen. A little bit forceful as the Aston Martin now a little bit further adrift from the pair of them. It's aggressive racing between the three of them. It's a little bit borderline. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to leave my opinion on any Stewarting, but the gaps are spread out now. Skipper and Ralph going at it down in towards Tosa. Can he go clean around the outside, Skipper? Yes, he has. That's a great move as well. We missed the start of that. But it's clean around the outside for the Ferrari driver. Yellow flags in the first sector. That is the Alpine of Kieran. I think he's had to spin the hardcore tyres. Not really yielding a lot of grip for those guys so far in this race. Not the tyre to be on at the moment, it must be said. We did see the strategy. Their strategy is to go medium hard. That one stop. I'm going to take a brief moment to calm down after an exciting duel we just had there. The gaps have now spread out. 4 seconds up at the front. 2 seconds back to third in Kitchen. A second and a half back to Adam. And the first time in this race, no gap is under a second. Into the pit lane though comes Connor. He was always going to be the first one to pit because of starting on the softs. I'm now going on to Prime Video. I don't know what's happened. I've clicked the remote. I'm back on. I can now see the screen. It would not affected you. Wouldn't affected you at all. But onto the Hull compounds, looking to go along to this rumour of rain in 10 minutes. Interesting, because that's not the tyre you choose. The rain is imminently coming. What's happened as well? Bob's into the pit lane. There is a yellow flag out on circuit from the Alpine of Kieran. What is Kieran doing? He's in the wall. I'd reverse out of that one, buddy. You get going. No cars coming his way, so he can rejoin the circuit. He'll be diving into the pit lane, though, very shortly, I would hope. Yellow flags still out, but no safety cars or VSCs. So elsewhere, Bob is into pit lane 2. He's just exiting now on a brand new set of medium compound tyres. ASC not really spoken about him much in this race. Put it on pole and has just slowly driven off to a nice 4-second lead. Yeah, there's rumour of rain in 10 minutes. It's very dry at the moment, it must be said. The sun is there. It must be there because there are shadows. I can't quite see it, but it looks like pretty clear skies. So we're going to have to be quite a long 10 minutes, or sort of a Jeff 10 minutes that ends up being no rain at all. Classic Jeff, I can't remember what the new bloke's called. I don't know. So the gaps between second and third and fourth, still what they were after our little incident, as Pete picks up a 3-second time penalty. The track limit, so 6 for 9 from now. A little bit wide there for Jens. Might get away with a warning. Might get away without a warning. And the gap between him and Kitchen come. Oh, I do love helicopter shot. Does look good. Well, energy is opportunity. That's an interesting slogan. It must be said, towards the chicane we go now. The direction change there for the Mercedes. It's weird. Like in low speed, the Mercedes looks really nice, and sort of it seems to have understeer, sort of medium to high speed. Interesting. About to probably be proven here. A little bit lazy on the front end, but it wasn't too bad. He's now 1.6 seconds. Oh, 7. Got a decent enough exit. Yellow flags are around circuit. That is have facing the wrong way. That's been very disciplined tonight when turning around. I can assure you I wouldn't have been. Just get around as quickly as possible. Deal with the consequences. Arsenal's going to lose as little time as possible just ahead of them. Bob just out of the pit lane. Fresher tyres putting pressure on Pete. Our closest battle on track at the moment. He heads now down towards the variance out of that gap between second and third. 1.5 or 1.9 seconds is really going up now. Must have been a very poor exit. It's Bob has got. Look at this grip he's got, the mechanical grip. ERS activated. We going around the outside into the variance outside. This is a very unorthodox place and has to back out of it with Pete on the inside. Oh, but Pete's gone very wide. Then now wheel to wheel. Kids pick up a time penalty. The first driver sort of up in that front group to get a penalty. That would have been at Piratella. And Pete gets the move done, does Bob. As Pete. Well, I'm not sure what racing line we're taking there. But nevertheless, onto the main straight. Has he built up enough of a gap? I think he has. I think that 9/10 gap will keep him safe. I say it's an interesting place to go for the move because, well, the activation point is so early. It just allows your rival to come back at you. Pete's going to try and do it. He's going to put a good effort in. Just runs out of road. Before he gets there, well, I mean, I could have told you that was a corner cutting penalty. He was all over the curbs there. Was Pete. Jens in the pit lane, up at the front. First to pull the trigger in that front group. Will it be the hard compound tyres to the end? I don't think this rain rumour was particularly true because everyone seems to be going long on certain sets of tyre. Mark's report says 10 to 15 minutes, so maybe the guys are just ignoring it and maybe it's not that big a shower. Not even sure who Mark is. There isn't a Mark. I don't know who Mark is. Anyway, Jens comes out in quite a comfortable P8 ahead of Connor. Of course, he pitted 3 laps ago. Connor started on the soft compound tyres. I would say he's made a bit of an undercut. The gap now, 3 seconds between the two of them. Connor's brought himself into this race by pitting early. Of course, he may struggle a little bit towards the end as the tyres start to drop off. Don't count... Oh, that's a good shot. That is a good shot. Don't count Connor out in this one, in my opinion. The Aston Martins could be the dark horses in this race as well. How well Adam was doing. Battling Will to Will, unfortunately, just got completely... I mean, the door was properly shut in his face and he was onto the grass a little bit from Kitchen. Hence why they're now running second and for that's why they're in the order they are, the second and third, because Jens is pitted. Jens had to have a bit of recovery after sort of being again shown the shoulder, and onto the gravel at turn 1 as he challenged. It was under threat from Kitchen. Kitchen elbows out this evening. It's borderline. It's borderline acceptable. Really love a bit of Argy-Bargy from time to time. Hard racing, hard but fair, I would say. Hard but fair. The Aston Martin weaving its way through the Tamburello chicane. Heading down now towards the Villeneuve. Yellow flag, out on track. And Pete's in the wall, facing the wrong way. No visible damage to that AlphaTauri, but it is covered in grass, and he gets going once more. All 15 drivers still in this one. ASC pumping in the lap times now. So that gap now almost 9 seconds between himself and Kitchen. You know, climbs up the hill. Just lapping Pav for the first time here this evening. Through the curbs we go. Gets the bar of third gear, heading down towards Rabatza. All smiles in that cockpit, it must be said. How's Jens getting on? Oh, what happened there? Pete. Oh, getting away very nicely there for Kitchen, I think. Really smashing the rev limiter in 7th there. Was Kitchen changed further back. I did think Jens was on the charge against him. I didn't think he'd get him. When he did, 12 lap pressure tyres, really helping him out there as that right wheel lifts up onto the curb. Where else are the battles coming? So I think, into the pit lane comes ASC, into the pit lane comes Brother. Just exiting now. Skipper stays out. ASC onto the hards. Brother onto hards as well. Where will ASC filter out in this race? As Pete is retired from the session, Pete is out of this one. Try and spot him on the right side. Just keeping ahead of the Alpine there. So he's lapped. There is Pete the Pirate into the wall. Is it a safety car? The green flags are being waved elsewhere on the lap. I don't think it is. The Marshals reckon they can clear that one quickly. Genzo, 2.4 seconds. The gap has definitely come down. Connor has actually jumped his teammate. Green flag racing once again. We really done with first corner. It really would have been nice and exciting. But nevertheless, we go once more. Composite into the pit lane. We'll see where he filters back out. The Ferrari guys ready to get to work on that car. Hard common tyres to the end of the race. Kitchen, though, leading the way. Skipper in second, Ralph in third, Maladonki in fourth. Those four, yet to pit. AC, your theoretical late race leader. Jens Hoffer, not a million miles behind. Blue flags are being waved to the Alpine of Kieran. Changes. What's happening here? Scully and Connor really sort of swinging around there. Of course, Scully yet to pit. Connor gets ahead. There's also a change, I think, between Pav and Double. Just behind the top four, all into the pit lane. It's got definitely getting a little bit darker. We'll try and see where they all filter out. ASC and Jens resume their positions in first and second. Kitchen just comes down to the pit lane. He's onto hard compound tyres. Softs for Skipper. Is that to the rain period? We'll have to wait and find out. Bold call. Mercedes just comes out behind Scully. Scully, of course, yet to pit. Connor, though, up in a P3. I called it early. When he first filtered out. Connor, a bit of a dark horse in this race, pitted early and just got on with it. Avoided all the drama that we've seen. And he's up in a P3 ahead of Kitchen, ahead of Adam. Sitting in that final podium spot as things stand. The front two a little bit further up the Renault ASC. Like his gap has come down, but the pair of them are 6 seconds clear, almost 7 seconds clear of the nearest challenger. Kitchen's putting pressure on Scully, almost pushing him through. Was there a bit of damage there? Yeah, there is. There's damage to the back of the Mercedes. Watch this on board from Adam. They are trying to overtake Scully for position. Oh my god. Will he go for the move here? Please don't go for the move here. It's bold, and to be fair to him, neither of them. I mean, he barely made the corner. Well read there from Adam. Kitchen did not make the corner by any stretch of the imagination. He's trying to keep ahead of Adam. Adam, though, of course, will have DRS now as they head down towards turn 1. Gets a really, really nice exit, to be fair, to him. Round the outside now, which of course then will eventually switch to the inside. We head down towards turn number 1. He is ahead and clear. By the time they get to the braking zone, and well, I would I would say it's sort of like, well, he did cut the corner. I think that was his punishment for it. Both ahead of Scully, though, who's going along in his first stint, really hoping for a sort of safety car, going for that alternate strategy. The gap out of the front now up to 3.4 seconds, just pushed by a second in this last lap. And what on earth is on that front wing? It's not look like that normally. It can't look like it's covered in sort of white bits, like he's gone for an advertising board or something. I have to look at the other McLaren in a minute. It can't be like that. Or is that just the sponsor? Sort of, I think it's just the sponsor spread out. Anyway, I do pick up the big things. The sky is slowly getting dark as that rumour, though, the murmurs of rain that we heard could be on their way. So we'll see how this one plays out. I mean, I think the surprise that it's only Skipper who's sort of gone for that racy strategy of expecting the rain. I'm going to go soft and sort of run to the rain period. But it is definitely getting darker, so we'll await the first few spots. I'm surprised the likes of, if they know the rain's coming, the likes of Kitchen, who've just gone onto the hards, when Skipper's just gone onto the softs. There's got a big pace delta there in tyres. And well, this is just, if the rain is coming, this is the time to take the fast lap of the race, and that's what maybe Skipper's trying to do as well. You've always got that extra bonus point. Can come in handy later on, especially when the season comes to a close. Down towards turn one we go on board with a Ferrari driver. Connor picks up 3 seconds up the road. So it's Connor and Kitchen who have the 3 seconds sort of in that top 5 group. So far, a bit of a big field spread at the moment. As you can see down the mini-map and the times on the left-hand side of the screen. After a really good start to his stint, where he sort of up-reeling, his ASC picks up a 3-second time penalty for the first time. I think that was on the exit of the chicane we're at now. That's the surface starting to sort of slicken up as the rain is merring. I'm waiting for the first few raindrops to appear. It kind of does look really cool, and I've got to say, I like the helmet too. Got to give a bit of love to the helmet. The Aston Martins swapping on the exit of the chicane. No sort of quarter being given, and actually Adam looks to have got a really nice exit, but will kind of come straight back at him. He will have DRS. He doesn't have DRS. Neither of them have got DRS. I'm a disabled, isn't it? I've just missed it. I don't think so. That's what's telling me. Maybe it was orchestrated in the end between them. Skipper. He's not got DRS. He's within a second. What's going on here at Imola? No DRS. For people that probably should have DRS. But anyway, on lap number 19 of this Grand Prix. 13 laps to go. We're on round number 2 of Season 7 here at DTR in Imola with Division 4. Well, Skipper will be what he's really reeled in. Scully, who's looking to go long. He's trying to go straight to the rain period, I think is what I've just worked out. So see how that's working out for him. Currently P6, and well, it'll be a massive gain for him after starting. P13 7 places up. Him and Skipper the big winners so far in this race. Skipper's looking to make up even more positions on those soft compound tyres. Now got a big gap further back in the field. Tabs into the pit lane for a fresh set of soft tyres. They're going to go racy on those C5 tyres. We saw on the formation lap. When Crew properly rudely interrupted my sort of big spiel I was about to do. True Ravazza. 2 we going on to the main straight. Will we see an overtake? Over to ERS, who's enabled. That's an aggressive blocking of the weaving. His DRS is now open. Ooh, look who else has joined in the battle. Ralph not far behind. His yellow flag's up the road. Not sure why. Scarley's going racy. Not really wide for 2 of them. And Ralph behind gets the best view in the house as they head now down towards the Villeneuve chicane. They're probably looking for a way past. I don't think you'll find one into there, and it's a stern defence from Scully as they make their way. Is he going to go for the dive into the hairpin? He is. Got more grip, way more grip than the old hards that are on the Red Bull. Under attack is the Red Bull once again. As we go up the hill, there's not quite the room to do much more. Let's try to back out of it. 15 laps between the delta of tyres between these two. Scully making it the widest Red Bull you have ever seen. Surely there's no move down the inside into the Variante Alto. I thought for a second then we could be seeing a very late lunge. As he got the exit now, he doesn't really want to overtake. Doesn't have any ERS left. I'm judged from what I can see on his steering wheel. I don't think he has. He might have 50% left. I can't quite see, but there are the raindrops we were talking about earlier on. The rumours are true. The rain is falling here in Imola. And of course, it's a circuit, well, that's known for its rain. The race was rained off before it even started. The whole weekend was rained off before it even started earlier on this year. DRS now wide open. Surely he has got a lot of ERS left. I read the steering wheel wrong. Virtual safety car has been called out, and P is out of the race. He was already out of the race. I'm not sure why the VSC's out. That's why the VSC's out. Double is in the wall. Safety car, a full safety car has been called out. Oh, he's been disqualified. That's not ideal. Again, it doesn't really like it when you just sat still, unfortunately. But Scully, he'll be happy bunny, and the Inters, I imagine, will be on for everybody. The race is neutralised, and the first time, this is what's going to be very interesting, the first time they get to drive this track in anger this evening on the intermediate tyres is lap 1 on the safety car restart. That's just your... It's like it's got very wet very quickly. The rain is now properly falling. Everyone will dive into the pit lane. And this is crucial for the Ferrari in front of Composite as he destroys the board that's there. He will be ahead unless he changes his front wing, which he don't think he does. He doesn't. He needs to go. Because it's all about staying ahead of... He has not done it, actually. You need to stay ahead of this man. You don't want to be a lap down, especially in a safety car. So you can gain that lap back. Under the safety car. Safety car just waiting for our race leader. But yes, everybody into the pit lane. And again, it brings up the point, if you knew the rain was coming, why go for the hards? You've got to skip it. Made up some places by putting on the softs. And who knows, if we didn't have this safety car, we would have had the best chance. More grip than everyone else. Better chance staying on the circuit. The sort of being on the 6 would have been a bit safe for him, but a bit quicker for him. But nevertheless, the safety car is out. And the race is neutralised. And in the space of about a lap and a half, the circuit is now fully, it looks wet. Not full wet, of course, but I don't think we'll be seeing those this evening. We follow the Aston Martin. That's a nice camera angle. Can't see the cars yet, but there we go. Hunted by the timing board. McLaren showing the nose, of course, the Ferrari in a bit of a sandwich. Kieran surely, oh, he's a little bit further behind, unfortunately. He'll be waiting to dive into the pit lane imminently. What's the rule now? I'm not even sure what the rule is with... Does he just have to sit there? I feel like this is something they would have changed. Excuse me. In all honesty. Especially in the fact they brought in red flags. Now, surely lap cars can unlap themselves. Or is he going to try to do it now? No way through there. Like, this was me. I'd be trying my luck. Seeing what the game says to me when I just try and unlap myself, even though it's on the safety car. But nevertheless, into the pit lane comes Kieran. Can he get it back out ahead, or he might then be 2 laps down? That Alpine is now into pit road, as the Americans would say. And the boys and girls down at Alpine are awaiting him. Intermediate tyres go on for. I've never seen that before. There's just a bloke that's watching on the front. He's down on the front left. He sort of moves round. He's just watching. Interesting. A whole field on intermediate tyres. We can take that graphic away, see a bit more of the screen. Obviously the stops either. There we go. Everyone on the intermediate tyres. I think Composite must have been listening to me there, because he did. Looks like he might have tried to unlap himself, but the game said absolutely not. Yes, he does need to go off track to let him through, but well, when you're leading a race in intermediate conditions behind the safety car, that's maybe not your first fault. I'd probably try to do it. Yeah, someone needs to go off track just to let him through, and then he can release him. Difficult for Composite. Nevertheless, we await. The field is, well, apart from Kieran, who's probably putting pedal to the metal right now. And the first person sort of driving this lap in the wets at decently racing speed. See what it's like for him. Looking tricky, running quite high on the... I say that he's in second gear. He was 6th gear through Piratello, which is 5th in sort of quali mode in the dry. Runs a little bit deep, all over the curb. So the circuit looks very challenging, as you just proved my point straight away just then. Anyway, lights are on. We think we will be behind the safety car for one more lap, unless it's sort of surprise drops. Did I know ASC had a penalty? Or am I just talking rubbish? Is it 3 seconds? It is. Nobody got penalties under. This guy's in this lap. Wow, that is a very late call from the race control. The shooter called it in as he's at the final corner. He now has to back the pack up. When did he decide to go? He's got to call this late because he's got to wait for the safety car. That's driver weaving away, and now he goes. He pulls the trigger. Looks like just behind. Jen's got a fantastic. Oh no, that's because it's the Ferrari. Anyway, so no pressure for ASC heading down towards 12. Kitchen's down. What's happened to Kitchen? P10. He's dropped down massively out of absolutely nowhere, changing positions further on the road. What's happened? Aston Martin. Oh, it's almost suspended. The McLaren going round. He's getting collected by Connor. It's Carnage down the turn. They're just trying to find the traction. They're trying to find a bit of grip. Excuse me. Ralph, I'm talking way too quick. Ralph moved on P6, Skipper on P5. Scully dropped down into P7. Oh, Jens, you could just see the rear going. He was going for the move for P2 and ended up collecting P4. He was doing his best just to hold it, but turn 1 and 2 is so tight. Moves further back up the road. Bob just trying to get around Dozer in one piece. Kitchen moved up his place. It's an ironic name. It's a little bit wet in the kitchen here this evening. That was a shocking pickup, like not pickup line, but a shocking line from myself. But I've used it anyway. I might use it again later on. Skipper putting the pressure on Connor. Has he got any damage? He did go front wing. He has got damage. Not what you want in the wet round Imola. It must be said, it will sort of help dull the front end. Now Jen's going for a move into the variante outer, goes around the outside, gets the move done before chicane. Wow, that seems to be a relatively popular overtaking spot here this evening. It's all kicked off. Kitchen makes over 3-second time penalty. That would have been at the chicane. I can't believe how late it was. It's cold. There was no build up at all to the restart. Man, Donkey putting pressure on Ralph. Could we see a move down in towards turn 1? Moose got nowhere as well at the front. It sort of seemed, I thought it was, yeah, Jens was P2, wasn't he? He was under attack actually. Didn't really hold the position, but here goes Malin Donkey trying to go round the outside, heading down in towards turn number 1, pushed onto the grass almost, and Ralph says, "You're not coming past me on this lap, buddy," and the McLaren driver keeps ahead this time around. We've got 7 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. The gap's sort of spread out the front, and well, whilst it was all kicking off, ASC again has just built his gap straight back up, and that 3-second time penalty doesn't mean too much so far. Skipper putting the pressure on the Aston Martin of Connor. That front wing damage really not helping him out. Not a lot he could do, I don't think, in that scenario. Of course now, and you see, he just can't get the car rotated. There goes Skipper down the inside. Unorthodox overtaking opportunity. But he's taken full advantage of it, and Skipper now knocking on the doors of the podium in P4 in that Ferrari. Great drive from him. He's come alive sort of from this safety car into wet weather period. Just keeps ahead. Connor, though, keeping the pressure on, but that front wing is not helping him, even in the low speed, let alone the high speed. Ralph will be next to apply the pressure elsewhere. Scully got a poor exit. Man, Donkey picks up another place. And here comes Kitchen too. He's missing part of his front wing as well. Maybe he had a bit of an incident. Will it be a double move? He's gone for it. There's contact between the two as a $1 short. The Red Bull and the Mercedes coming together. That's not the first time we've seen that in the last couple of years. And after all of that, Kitchen is up. Ralph has got ahead of Connor. Connor really struggling. They're wheel to wheel down the main straight, heading towards turn 1. Which one's ahead once we get to the braking zone? The Aston Martin just holds on position. But he seems to be struggling a little bit. Bob, further back in P11. These guys having their own little race. Him and Kieran. Not too sure. Anyway, changes of position going on everywhere as Donkey's got ahead of Kitchen and Ralph has finally got ahead of Connor. Aston Martin seems a handful. It must be before that whole end plate is, well, it's no longer there. And he now goes up the hill. You've got a feel of the Aston Martin driver who actually made the undercut work superbly. It is fair to say. And as we head now, we're on lap number 26. Gap out from 5 seconds. Jen's got a gap of 4.8. And I don't even. It was. Ralph's got a 3-second time penalty. That would have been on the exit of Aquaminerale. Super fast flowing down, then up. As we head down towards Ravazza for the 26th time. Pav's got a 3-second time penalty down in P12. What can Skipper do as they race down towards turn 1? Way too far back to go for a move at the moment. But yeah, Jens, he went into turn 1, just gave it everything, and the car in these conditions just said no. Tried to hold as best he could. Unfortunately, as he slid, he was collected by Connor, who's now unfortunately dropping like a stone. That front wing complaining, and there is the evidence of it. More understeer than a boat going, I'll say the Thames, but that's only relevant to me because I live in England, through the sea. That was an even worse one. A cruise ship, like a cruise ship, trying to turn a cruise ship at the moment, especially in these conditions. The rain looks to be coming down a lot heavier now. That is quite some forceful rain. It's very difficult to judge the rain on this game because I'd sometimes look at it and think, oh, that must be wet over tyres, and it's barely inches. That's F1 for you. Scully putting the pressure on Kitchen. The man, he was battling up at the podium earlier on. He was P2 at the start of this race. He's now down in P8. Malandonki could be getting places. No penalties. No penalties for him so far in this Grand Prix. The Aston Martin just can't turn at the moment. Will he have the traction up the hill? He won't, because here comes the donkey down the inside of Varianzialta. Oh, both of them got a little bit deep all over the second curve. That's not the curve you want to be going all over. And now it's like sort of dancing on ice behind, banging wheels between the pair, and the Aston Martin somehow sneaks through. And here comes the Mercedes joining the battle. We're not going to see an audacious move down the inside this time around. And they all make it for Ravazza 1, they all make it for Ravazza 2, but who's got the best of the exits? Running wide was the Aston Martin, and that seems to be, well, the name of the game for him at the moment. I've gone the wrong way on the drive thing now. I'll try to do it quickly, but actually the one on the attack looks to be the one under attack. Malinowski under attack now from the Mercedes. Will he look for a move down the inside? He won't, just a little bit too far back at the moment, as Bob and Pav sorting places. Pav, I'm not too sure, a little bit slow on the main straight. Maybe getting away for blue flag. Not sure on the other driver taking advantage into the Villeneuve chicane we go. And Donkey still ahead of Kitchen. Over a second now. Back to Connor. I thought that was where the move was going to come from. And we have 4 laps left to go of this Grand Prix. Yellow flagged in Sector 2. I'm not sure who it was. I've no idea who it was. Anyway, we move on. Connor just about keeping a hold of it on this lap. Down towards Aquaminerale we go. Now climbing up the hill. The rear end just went. Demanding too much from Malandonki. He's into the wall, losing it, and losing a fair chunk of front wing. And the man who was making great strides in the rain and after the safety car. Oh, and loses again. The tyres nice and warm. That end plate is gone. I don't know what sure he was like to do. Still well within the points. Decent sized gap behind. Maylut's coming to the pit lane. Skipper keeping decent pressure on Adam in front, and well, there's 5 drivers, without penalties. They'll be sort of doing their absolute best to try and make sure it stays that way, because that could sort of shake up the finishing order once we finish. And well, especially like as someone like Adam got 3-second time, but now Skipper would be taking full advantage of that. Lovely shot in the rain. Oh, that is dead right. It may not have been before. That's got to be full wet weather rain. It's got to be. The rain really streaming down. Has anyone gone for a cheeky? No one's gone for a cheeky wet tyre pit stop. I'd say if you're up at the front, it wouldn't be worth taking the risk of losing 20 seconds, having to make up the moves, having to make up the positions. That's got to be wet over tyres. You know, someone's got to take the punt, haven't they? What have you got to lose? If you got like Malandonki, for example, come and spill and change your front wing, put on a set of wets. Really tricky conditions for these guys. Yeah, right call from the guys at the front. Definitely stay out. You don't want to be taking those unnecessary risks, because Malandonki, well, experiencing the frustrations that others felt. And speaking of frustrations, going wide as well is Kitchen. as he looks to reel in Connor. Of course, had that from me damage. About 6/10 of a second there by going wide. Make that 7, 8, 9. Just 9. Now we go on to that number 30. Malin Donkey's got a freezing time, but it's for corner cutting. Which corner have we cut? I think it was the variance outer. Maybe the brakes just saying, I'm okay, thank you. Yellow flags. I'm still not sure what for. Under pressure though. Bob under attack now. I would have shifted up a hell of a lot earlier, but there we go. Down towards turn 1. What will we see? A bit of a late move. Oh, the Red Bull's gone deep. And Bob just about keeps it on the track. The Alfa Romeo trying to avoid him. And somehow, after swinging about left, right, front and centre, how long he's into the pit lane. Let's see what time he goes on to. So after swinging around as they were, and both facing the right way. Come on, will be a set of wets. Got to be a set of wets. Oh, instead of enters, I'm certain this is wet weather rain. Like, it's got to be wet weather rain. Surely. Adams picked up 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial for this race. But just outside that is Skipper. That will give him the incentive now to push. We got 3.3 seconds. This is your battle for the podium. It's 0.3 of a second on the penalty to take it into account. Skippers now has to push like crazy if he wants to step on the final step of the podium. Kitchen makes him another 3-second time penalty. Penalties could actually be quite important in the midfield battles. 12 for Kitchen now. He's under pressure from Scully. Well, Scully's got 9 seconds though, so it's probably be okay. 2 seconds to the good at the moment. 3.8 in Skipper. It looks like Skipper maybe running a bit more wing and just lost a hell of a lot of time on the straight. Let's make it up in the corners. He does a little bit. Oh, Mercedes sounds almost nicer. I've only seen 2 corners there on board with Aston Martin, but look at the steering wheel, so smooth. The input's nice and controlled. It's a man who is comfortable in the wet, and he knows exactly what he's doing. A Skipper dropping a little bit further back. Aston Martin, well, doing the right thing, and a hazard, I guess, on the controller on those inputs. But it's very nice. It's very nice indeed, and my full respect goes to him. But we've got, as that was a one way to fire it into this game, but it worked for ASC. ASC 2.729 seconds sort of to the good at the moment. Kitchen putting on the pressure. He's just about to start his final lap of the Grand Prix on board with the Mercedes. No way through there. We've seen so many moves into the round. It's almost worrying. Oh, and losing the rear. He somehow saved it. What a save from Kitchen. Oh no, and he hasn't saved it. He could be. We avoided the wall. The first save was beautiful. The Red Bull's going to swoop around the outside. The Alfa Romeo becomes sensible. Obviously, here's a lap down. And Ralph putting pressure on Skipper now. So after Skipper was potentially challenging for the podium, his position could be under threat. But I think even with the penalties, Ralph won't actually jump in. Might jump on circuit, but not in real life. And after all of that, of course, the Red Bull snuck past. Kitchen's now still on the attack. Oh, and they have swapped positions. What's happened to Skipper? Running out of fuel? I'm not sure. Maybe a mistake down at turn 1. Closing in, not quite. But as he heads down towards Aqua Minerale, he came second. Oh, they got squirming away there on the entry. As Kitchen has got past on the exit of the first couple of corners next to the terminal chicane. Into the chicane we go once more. There you see, it's been a faultless drive, it must be said. And it is a faultless drive. Apart from his 3-second time penalty, he's been the class of the field today, putting it on pole position. He's led pretty much from lights to flag. He's theoretically led from lights to flag. And as he rounds Ravazza 1, he rounds Ravazza 2. As I said, he was second last week. He climbed onto the top step of the podium here today, racing towards the line. SE takes win number 2 here in Division 4 in Season 7. And it will be Jens to come onto the main straight now. He will take up P2 back-to-back podiums for the McLaren driver. Great for his championship points haul. And again, hopefully moving up 1 place as Adam takes the final spot on the podium. Good drive from him in the end. Ralph takes P4. Another strong result for McLaren. They were the joint best scorers last week, despite Mercedes were joint scorers, and then one drive in the points though. So great work from them. Connor will take B6. And Kitchen will be P7, but I think he might lose his place because of penalties to Scully. So it's actually sort of a race of what could have been as he finished P8, was in P2 for a good bit. Some strong racing up at the front for him at times, but unfortunately not when we crossed the checkered flag. Bob and Pabs missing out on the points in 11th and 12th, and we're just waiting for a few others now. It's Malik Donkey and Kieran. It's got to be full wets here, and it's like has to be full wets. Must be. Just these two guys. Composite across the line in P13. Just unfortunate having the safety car, and it's a little bit slow pit stop, which meant he couldn't be on the lead lap, and that compromised his race really. Come the end, but Kieran comes across the line in P9, actually 2 points to him. Malik Donkey takes the final point in P10. But it's ASC who takes the win here on the final night of league. I mean, that rain is sideways. It's got to be full level. So Skipper takes driver of the day. He did cross the line last, didn't he? No, he didn't. That was composite. Was it? Yeah, it was. Skipper finished P4. Apologies for that. As ASC climbs onto the top of the podium. I'd argue that's a fair drive of the day, actually. Or one of them. Quite a few drives of the day, in my opinion. ASC hoists the trophy aloft. The Haas boys and girls very happy down there. And McLaren of Ralph and the Mercedes. Sorry, the Aston Martin of Adam celebrating on top of the podium. Adam's first podium here this season. 40 DNF last week. So good finishing result for him. But here is the final order. The top two as they were in qualifying. It's ASC, followed by Jens, both moving up a single place from last week. Second and third for them last week. First and second this week. Jens will be hoping to go one step further next week as well. Adam takes the final podium spot. Ralph in P4. Skipper in P5, up 7 places. Great result for him. Then it comes Connor, Scully, Kitchen, Kieran, and Malik Donkey rounding your top 10. Bob, Pav, and Composite are the other runners. And then Double is your last driver on the grid. Thank you for joining me. It's been a very enjoyable evening back in the commentary box. And hopefully we'll get a few more from me this evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's an interesting race, a chaotic race. And well, that's just league racing in DTR. Enjoyable for all. So look forward to see you next week. I can't remember where we are. I'll try and have a quick look. Spain, off to Barcelona, as I think Ed Sheeran once said. So there we go. See everybody then. Ciao for now. Adios. As what they will say next week. Adios amigos.